That'd be good, would it? How are these sounding? They all right? Are we recording already? Yeah. Happy days. People are gonna wonder what's going on here. This is a weird setup. All right. Tucked your hoodie into your trousers. Yeah. Comfortable. You look it, yeah.
Ready to go.
Oh yeah, here we go. You'll realise this time around we've got a proper setup. We have microphones and a camera and lights and, you know, organised. We've levelled up. We have two Raptors on the job this time. There we go. Second Raptors joining us. Jamie, welcome. So we're doing Twitter questions. I'm gonna keep looking at that screen next to it. No, it's fine. It's fine. I need to be better at training myself to not.
Sorry, you can talk.
Should I flip it around?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we have questions. We have loads of questions. So the Raptors are going to select questions and ask me what those questions are. You're talking to that stick there.
First question is, what are your thoughts on Mcgregor and Cowboy fighting at 170?
Are we all whispering? Is that the time?
Is that whispering? Was I whispering? It's me reading it.
Okay. What are my thoughts of... why don't you do this? Why don't you read it and then ask me in your words so you're not reading it at the same time, because then you'd have to think about it.
Okay, so
you'll get the gist of it and then you can
what
ask
are
me
your
that.
thoughts on Mcgregor and Cowboy fighting at 170?
Okay.
There you go. How was that?
That was better. That was good. That was good. You're normally behind the camera, so it's, you know... people are only familiar with your laugh. That one, yeah. I think as far as comeback fights for McGregor, it's probably the best. It's probably the best one there. It's probably the best option because, well, for two reasons. One, because Cowboy's a bit of a he's a veteran. There's a lot of footage on him, and McGregor's someone that would watch tape and study and figure out his game, see where the weaknesses are, and know how to exploit those weaknesses. He's good at targeting with his shots. You know, he'll know that Cowboy's weak in the body and he'll attack the body. He's also a fast starter, and Cowboy struggles with fast, aggressive starters. The other thing as well is it's at 170, so I think McGregor's not really got much option other than starting fast, because he does slow down at a point, especially at 170. Like, I always reference the weigh-in videos from both fights, whether he's fighting at 45, 55, or 70. 45 and 55, when he has to cut weight, he's on the scales and he's like wild-eyed. And he's ripped and he's screaming and he's like, he's feral, he's focused, he's warlike. Then you see him on the scales at 170 and he's like smiling and rubbing his belly, and it's a different energy entirely, you know. And I always say that for me, the weight cut, which I often did on my own, which is probably not advisable, but I almost always did my weight cuts on my own. That for me was like the march to battle. That was like the getting my mind ready for what was to come. It was the little bit of suffering before the potential, a lot of suffering, you know. And I thought I'll just, it was my time to just kind of be in my own head and focus. And I think that fighters, whether they realize it or not, they utilize that time for that, you know. And I think probably that's why some fighters like to have a lot of people around them, so they are distracted about that. But I think for me there was a value in the weight cut, and I just think McGregor looks different at 170. But the benefit in him being at 170 is that if he loses, it doesn't affect him at 155. Smart move that. If he loses to Cowboy at 155, he never gets a title shot. If he loses to Cowboy at 170, with a win over Poirier or someone like that at 55, he can still put himself in line. So it's a smart move, you know, as you would expect from McGregor. And a good opportunity for Cowboy.
Why do you think he's fighting at 170 though? Is that because, do you think he wants a Masvidal fight?
I think that's part of it. I certainly think, you know, if he beats Cowboy, he certainly sets himself up for a fight against Masvidal or a rematch with Nate. But I think Nate's going to be out for a while with that cut. And I think the only thing that would... I mean, that's a good question, really. I don't know the answer to that. Who would be more popular against Masvidal for the BMF belt? Would it be McGregor after a win over Cowboy, or would it be Nick Diaz coming out of retirement? Right? That's a tough one. But that's the way forward. That's the fight.
Yeah.
We have a third mic. We could have just.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna come down to casuals versus hardcore fans.
Yeah.
'Cause the hardcore fans would want to see Nick, obviously.
The casual fans won't remember Nick Diaz as a fighter.
No. And they would want to see Mcgregor for sure, and they would probably win.
Yeah, but I mean the thing is, if he
vote.
beats Cowboy impressively, there'd be much more of a drive to put that fight on. I just don't think 170 suits him. Physiologically, I just don't think he's quite big enough.
Yeah. Well, he has gone 5 rounds at 170, hasn't he? Is that the only weight class that he's gone 5 rounds?
And he ran about a mile in it as well. It just doesn't look.
For sure, yeah,
The thing is, fighters have got a limit to what their body can carry before it starts to affect it. I remember starting training camp. And my deal with my coach was that I wouldn't walk in the doors of the gym on the first day of training camp above 195 pounds. So I was within 25 pounds of my weight class, which for him as a Thai boxer still thought that was a lot. Like he was about sweating out 5 pounds on the day of the fight, stepping on the scales and then weighing in. You know what I mean? Or not weight cutting at all and fighting people bigger. You know, he was. So the idea of weight cutting really wasn't a thing for him. So that was my deal with him. And I used to negotiate £10. I'd come in at like 205. but I always remember anything close to £200, and I just, you know, that the Rock dude off what's it fucking called? X-Men.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know that big. Is it
yeah.
X-Men? Fantastic Four, Juggernaut. That's him. Yeah. That's what it feels like when I'm running. When I'm close to £200. If I can get to 185, I feel a bit more. I feel a bit more like a racehorse. If I get to 170, I feel like a gazelle, like a greyhound. I'm super fast. But it's like there's a difference in what your body's capable of at certain weights. That's why I look back at my old fights and I think, shit, that's not a good version of me.
You should have gone lower.
I should have been lighter and faster. But the whole mentality when I was in the UFC was about being bigger. So I just got as big as I could. I was just deadlifting and eating and, you know, just ridiculous.
Yeah, some of the pictures you look massive.
Got a big head like a basketball. Only person that had a bigger head was Anthony Johnson at the time. He was massive. 235 he used to get up to. I saw him at a tap out because we used to see each other regular, and I saw him at this tap out autograph signing, and he was massive. He was like, I said, how heavy are you? And he said 235, which probably means he was heavier than that, but he was huge.
He's a monster, man, that guy. I remember you telling me when he stepped in the cage how much bigger he looked.
Yeah, I just thought they twitched him. I thought they twitched him for someone else. Like, there's no way that's the same guy that I weighed in
He's
yesterday.
like doing like security at Bare Knuckle or something.
Is that what he's doing?
Oh, wait,
yeah.
that's what it looked like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is crazy. You got one?
Yeah. I quite like this one. It's what is your Mount Rushmore of MMA?
What's my Mount Rushmore of MMA? What's that? 4 people. Who's that from?
That is from Ricky Orta Jr.
Okay. Good question, Ricky. My Mount Rushmore of MMA. Well, this kind of follows on from that conversation John and I were having earlier today, which never ended. Because he referenced the MMA gods, and people say that sometimes. I'm like, who are the MMA gods? You know? Who are the MMA gods? Who's the Mount Rushmore of MMA?
Well, he said Dana, didn't he?
Yeah,
You were
but,
like,
but it's got to be fighters for me.
Yeah.
It's got to be 4 fighters. And I'm going like... Oh, shit. They might all be bald. Is that a coincidence? It might be...
Means they're legend.
Is that what it is? Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah. It might be Randy Couture, Bas Rutten, Fedor. Oh, see, I want to say Vanderlei Silva, but I might have to switch him out for somebody more legendary. Although that's hard to choose.
Don't know.
Could it be someone who's currently fighting? Maybe. Would you
Well,
put
the
anyone?
current Rushmore, the current Mount Rushmore would be, who would that be? Amanda Nunes,
Khabib, I reckon.
Khabib,
Probably.
Henry Cejudo. Masvidal. He's over all the other champions. Why don't we plug the other mic?
If the gods...
Where is it? Is it in the Mogwai cupboard?
No, I'm sure
Perfect.
we just had two up here.
Have we got a cable?
They say if the MMA gods were looking down on us in that kind of... So surely would they have to be dead?
No, well, not necessarily.
No?
No, not necessarily. I mean, when you're referring to, like, when you're referring to gods, is this going to be weird? Is this going to sound weird? Cover your ears.
Nah, that just doesn't sound like
It's not
anything.
make a crackle noise or anything. Will it?
Yeah.
Because it
For
was
sure.
at the table. I reckon it was too far away from the
Because
mic.
it was a high. It wasn't that high, actually, was it?
No. Oh, there you go. There you go. That was very swashbuckling.
All good.
Oh,
Yeah, so they wouldn't...
there we go.
So they can be
That's
alive.
Jamie's pants on the video there. You can see. Grey pants today.
Longsdale, probably.
Next's finest.
There we go. The finest that Next have. What are you saying?
It was on about MMA gods.
No,
The
they don't have to
MMA
be gods. They don't have to be dead to be MMA gods.
No, I realise that, but in how the phrase is used, it's kind of as if they were above.
You have to talk
down.
into the stick.
It was as if they were above you, looking down, right? In that kind of
Yeah,
sense.
kind of. Yeah, but then.
So I can't really associate
But
someone
the
alive
fact that
doing
you walk
it.
into a room and you see Khabib on the other side of the room, like, to you that's starting to become quite normal. Whereas to a lot of people, they are effectively, elsewhere. They're unreachable.
Yeah.
I'm referring to gods like the Greeks did, who believed they coexisted with their gods.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like gods among men.
There you go. Yeah. Is that the movie? Is that what it's called? There's a good movie recently.
There is
come out.
a movie called Gods Amongst Men.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think. Yeah.
I was watching some Greek mythology thing the other day. Anyway.
Owen, Owen gave me this thing. I need to take it off.
You need to take it. Oh yeah. Yeah, one of them. A buff.
What are they called?
Buff.
A buff.
Yeah. Or at least that's the brand. It's I'm not sure what they're actually
Snood.
called.
That's what they're called.
Snood?
Yeah,
Snood,
snood.
That's an ugly word.
Yeah, it is,
That's a
isn't it?
fucking ugly word.
What is your ugliest word?
I know there are a few. I don't like the word flannel. That's an ugly word.
I think that's quite a common.
Not a word. Is that a word?
Yeah.
No, it's got to be in the dictionary for it to be a word.
Okay.
That's street slang.
It's in the Urban Dictionary.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
But it's a gross word, right?
It is a gross
Yeah.
word.
Gash is a pretty nasty
Yeah,
word.
that's nasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snood's worse though.
Snood's like pathetic name, isn't it?
How do we veer off Twitter questions?
I don't know.
Owen's not even here.
Are you going?
No, go for it,
Yeah.
go for it.
Oh shit.
God.
Disputing the ranks.
There's loads.
There is. Does USADA test for psilocybin?
I don't think you can.
Tesco Chainsaw Massacre says that.
Tesco Chainsaw Massacre. Nice. Very cool. Tesco is a supermarket chain in the UK.
So how does that work? Because I've heard... Well, yeah, I don't really know how to say that, actually. But if you wanted to do...
Without it sounding incriminating.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard. A friend of mine.
If you wanted to do, say, for example, some coke,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And USADA came round the next day, what happens? Is that...
Well, did that not happen to John Jones? Did he not test positive for cocaine out of training camp? But it's a recreational drug, so I mean, aside from it being illegal, USADA don't get involved in legal stuff.
So they don't highlight that it would come up to the UFC or anybody.
I don't think so. I mean, no, I think it has to be reported, but I don't think they can be suspended. It's the same as marijuana. It's in, and I'm making this shit up. I'm entirely talking from what I think. As a disclaimer, Jeff Nowitzki's sitting there going, it's competition time, so that's when you're testable for it, and it's a problem. Like, you can't do a line of coke in the dressing room and go out and fight, because that will give you a distinct advantage. You know, I mean, you can smoke a joint in the dressing room and go out, and I'm not sure there's an advantage there, but I'm sure some fighters would do it still.
Well, didn't Nick Diaz,
when he was with Gomi, he must have had an edible because he was so high. Yeah, is it Pride 33?
I hope so, because you and Mark made a point about watching it. It was Pride. Fight. Was it Pride?
It was in
33 or
33.
22.
No, it wasn't 22. That's
33 then.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's right. I'm not sure.
No, I think it is. For sure.
Don't matter. It's not important.
But yeah, didn't he have like a load?
He must have had an edible in the dressing room or something because he was so fucking high, and wins by go-go platter. I mean, maybe it does give an unfair advantage. But even so, yeah. So the point that I'm making is that it's out of competition. So I don't think it makes a difference. It's only within that window of time. There are some things that fall in the not ever category, and some things that fall in the recreational.
Okay.
And I believe that, yeah, it's not my bag.
You got one?
Let's have a look.
Oh, he's got the power mic. Got this rhubarb stuff again.
Oh yeah.
I know it should hit you cost of coffee. That was the conversation we were having before the podcast started.
Yeah, I took it and
There's
you
a
hit it,
bit
did you? 'Cause
of
we've not
a
yet
Christmassy one.
Go on.
Being it's Christmas.
Oh shit, go on then.
Mince pies, yes or no? From Nick Littlewood.
Mince pies, yes or no? I suppose yes, once a year. Not all year round though.
No.
Nobody
lying
needs
on the
mince pies
beach
all
with a
year.
mince pie.
Where would the weirdest place to eat a mince pie? In a sauna.
Oh, I'd go soggy and
It would.
Yeah.
Cinema.
Funeral.
You wouldn't take a mince pie to the cinema. A funeral. What is wrong with you, man? What's going on in your head?
Ask the question.
The first thing you said, funeral. Fucking distant relation to the Addams family or what?
Okay.
This is incredibly disorganised. A little more organised.
Well, there's just so many questions, and we're just freestyling them. But
but you don't like any of the ones that you're seeing.
yeah, a lot of them are like, when are you coming back to fight? And I'll ask that one a little bit later.
Oh, are you? Are you saving that one?
Yeah.
You're building some suspense. Should we just sit here in silence while you go through and read these things?
Okay. Mate.
It took me 3 fucking hours to get home today. While he's sorting through them, I'm going to have a complaint about the traffic and about some of the terrible drivers.
Who's your favourite Dutch kickboxer and your favourite Dutch MMA fighter? By Brando Leroy. Brando Leroy.
My favourite Dutch kickboxer is definitely Ramon Dekkers, without question. My favourite Dutch MMA fighter. I don't know. That's a tough one. I would either go. Gegard Mousasi is high on the list, very high on the list, if not number one. I would say Alistair Overeem's up there near the top as well, for the body of work he's put in. Like you could spend 3 days watching nothing but Alistair Overeem fighting.
Is that how much time
He's done loads. Kickboxing, MMA, Abu Dhabi, ADCC. He's done all kinds of shit.
How did he get on at ADCC?
He won a bunch. I'm not sure exactly what he won. I think he won the European trials, but he won a load of stuff just by guillotining people. And then when he was fighting in Pride, he was using the guillotines as well. Because he was tall, he was able to get over people.
Yeah.
And he used to be quite skinny.
He's a beast.
He is.
I got a pretty good one from UFC Enthusiast. What was your personal favourite moment of UFC history you've watched live?
That is a good one. I like that.
My favourite piece of UFC history that I've watched live. That is a tough question. I don't know. Maybe Michael Bisping Anderson Silva at the O2, you know.
You reckon? Yeah.
Maybe.
I would have thought it would be when Mcgregor, when you were speaking to Mcgregor person. I was doing that because that's what you were doing.
Oh, with the
what did he say? If we all go to war
thing.
Yeah. That was quite a massively iconic moment.
It was absolutely.
And
yeah.
But maybe not your favourite.
No, because I mean that event was wild. That was, as far as events go, that one stands out. Because I mean, being in Dublin and watching how they get behind their local fighters and having a whole card stacked of SPG fighters was awesome. I mean, poor old John Kavanagh was doing laps back and forth to the octagon that night, but they had a good night. And then Mcgregor was the main event against Brandao, and when he knocked him down, the whole place went up, and it was pouring Guinness and beer from the ceiling. My jacket is still upstairs in the wardrobe in a bag. It's soaked. It needs properly dry cleaning. I'm still not sure I'll get the Guinness out of it. Wow. But it was like, the event was amazing, and I think it's like 7,200 people there, but on record, like one of the highest decibel events that the UFC have ever done. That was pretty good. I just think the Anderson Silva Michael Bisping event, that was probably a bit more personal for me as well, because I've always looked up to Anderson Silva and been inspired by him and learned a lot from him, and I've known Michael for a long time. So like, I remember him getting into MMA and his early years of training, and then watching his career develop and kind of seeing Anderson Silva and Michael Bisping come together at the O2 Arena, and I'm commentating on it. And then it goes on to be just a wild fight that kind of embodies everything about MMA, really. You know, like, they gave everything they had that night. Anderson Silva made some bad calls. Michael Bisping just dug everything he had out of his soul and fought hard for 5 rounds and won 4 of them on my scorecard. Yeah, I've got a jacket that stinks of beer and Guinness. And I have a shirt that's covered in Michael Bisping's blood that will never come out. Yeah,
that was an amazing fight.
It was.
That knee.
Yeah. What is it? Switch flying knee? Although, to be honest, I mean, I was in the arena for the Masvidal Askren knee.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was,
Yeah, that was
what,
pretty
20
epic.
meters from the cage? That was pretty wild.
Because I was going to ask, what was your favourite moment this year?
That one then.
As well, is that...
Yeah.
Yeah, it stands out quite a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, that was gold. Although Masvidal in Mexico City with a Mexican flag poncho and a gun belt was pretty cool as well. As far as standalone moments where I wish I'd have taken a photo, that's definitely that moment. I wish I'd have got a shot of that, and I wish that film would have come out with those shots backstage at what was it, 2 something.
We'll have to do them again.
We'll have to, yeah. We'll have to run that event back. put DC against Miocic one more time.
Yeah, you got some good pictures in there that will be coming out soon, won't they?
Yeah, we've not mentioned this, but we are. Well, the Raptor merch site's up, raptormerch.co.uk.
It is. People are saying that they can't get on the website. I don't know why though, but
it works.
It works for me as well.
I've sent a link to.
But so many people are saying that I can't get on it. I don't know why.
Now is not the time to discuss this.
It's not. I'm just saying, if you can't get on it, we're aware.
Get on the site, we're aware and we're fixing it.
I think people might be making the mistake of Raptors merch rather than Raptor merch.
Raptor merch. Maybe. Get your shit together. So yeah, we're gonna put a photography book together, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, a book. There's gonna be some text in it as well.
Some real cool stuff from UFC
awesome
events,
photos.
like backstage. You've got some amazing stuff from Abu Dhabi backstage, like some Felder shots, some and DC Stipe too. There's one shot I think you got where they've taped DC the letters on the floor, and then straight ahead of that is the entrance, isn't it, to the arena? You can just see everything. That's that would be a powerful picture in a few more years as well. I imagine when he retires, you can probably sell him that
for sure.
It's a really cool photo.
Yeah. Well, we're going to put that book together anyway. Have we got more questions? Shall I have a look through and see what? Because we got 100 and something.
What was your favourite moment this year? Favourite trip away?
Favourite? Vegas for sure.
Which one? Oh yeah, of course.
This next one coming up. That was awesome.
Quality.
It was just a wild week.
And we're going back to Vegas, and we'll be making some more vlogs.
Oh yes, we are. Yeah. Yeah, there's some good questions here. Did you not read these?
What?
Which unranked fighter in any division, in your opinion, has the ability to become champion in their weight class over the next 2 years? That's a good question.
Who said that?
Chris Millington, our photographer friend. Dapper Scrappers. That's what they do, innit? Well, I'm thinking local region, but Jack Shaw definitely has got the chance. I certainly think that division's open for someone rangy with a good, solid game plan, and he's very focused in what he's trying to do. There's no like madness in his game, no like flying craziness. It's a very like linear game, which I like. I appreciate when someone knows what they're trying to do with their opponent. They know the most efficient way of doing it, and you can just see him and his dad have just worked all the kinks out over the years, and they've got a good working relationship, and now their gym's set up as well. It's just I'm realizing more and more that it's often about the environment that the fighter's in more than what the fighter's actually capable of. Like you could take 10 John Joneses and scatter them around the world, and it's the one that finds the right rhythm with their training that will come out on top. The rest of them you'll never hear of, and that's a reality. Because like there are more talented people out there, but there aren't enough MMA gyms that they can walk into that know what they're doing.
True.
Like, honestly, I'm not going to dig anybody in particular, but some of the shit I hear when people are cornering, like you've got world-class fighters in high-level fights, and there's some nonsense being coached to them in their corners, and I'm thinking to myself, how are these people coaching MMA fighters at this level? And you think to yourself, well, there's got to be a bunch of people out there that are training under guys that will never coach in the MMA, in the UFC, that are coaching all kinds of nonsense, So then, as the level of MMA comes up as well, and there are loads of kids as well that we're seeing on the lower levels, like the kid that's just won IMAF that you did the documentary on.
Yeah, Mcgregor.
Yeah, go and check
awesome.
that documentary out. It's on the YouTube channel. Like they're going to be the breakout stars of the next couple of years. The ones that I'm paying more attention to at the moment are like Charles Oliveira. I think he's a real problem in that division. I think the Dan Hooker-Felder fight is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I think Dan Hooker's...
Yeah, that's a tough fight for Felder, which is why no one else wanted to take it, and Felder's a lunatic. I'll get back to you on that one, Chris. I'll have a think. I'll look through the roster and pick out a couple more, because that's a good question. There are definitely a few. There's going to be some come from behind surprise contenders.
There was one on there about Dan Hooker and Felder.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. What do you think to that in terms of
how it plays out?
Yeah.
I think the problem for Felder is that he's going to be kind of at the whim of Hooker's movement. The way that Hooker moves, like he's very good at cutting angles and throwing weird stuff from a long range, and then he's got those long knees as well. And Felder's got a very Muay Thai style. He's very kind of march people down, and he's very effective at what he does. But when you add a sprinkling of unpredictability in there, and then the space in the octagon, especially over 5 rounds, like Felder can dish out some damage, but he can take some as well. And that's, you got to think over 5 rounds. Like, he might have beat Barbosa over 5 rounds, but he went through hell to do it. He might have to go through hell to beat Dan Hooker, but he might be able to do it. I think it's a very tough fight. I think Barbosa's, he's more familiar with Barbosa, and there are more predictabilities in Barbosa's game. You know what he's good at. You've seen ways where he can be beaten. If you can get close enough to him, you can shut him down. Whereas Dan Hooker's, he's got stuff everywhere, and he's growing quickly, and that's one of those gyms at the moment where, they've got the fucking magic crystals or something, because everyone's coming out strong. Like Volkanovski fighting for a title in a week's time.
Is that Eugene? Is that his coach, Volkanovski?
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I'm so bad with I get told so many
I didn't
names.
realise that, to be fair.
Eugene, yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
But
So
they've got something going on at the moment, something good. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, Gary Hope asks, if you had to invest in 3 MMA fighters, who would they be?
What, in the UFC or out of the UFC?
I'd imagine anywhere. I like anywhere.
Anyway, that's what you want to go with, is it? Well, I mean, I've been at Cage. I've been focused on Cage Warriors recently, so that's where my focus would be mainly. I think there are, some really good fighters on there. James Hendon. Obviously Adam Singer's coming off a loss, but I still think he's promising. I also think Liam Gittins is very promising. He's a good kid to get behind. What's his name? The light heavyweight champion that just won. I'd like to see him cross over to the UFC. Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion.
Oh,
Gone. He's got such a challenging name.
Buskauskas?
Yes. Modestus Bukauskas. Yes.
Yeah.
We got there. We think that's right.
Yeah.
I think we mispronounced that correctly, as Dan Collins said. Yeah. All right. How to fight a fighter who's constantly pressuring you like a machine gun puncher. Well, if you haven't got the room to move away or the gas to move away for as long as the fight, then you've got to smother it somehow. Smother it up against the fence, which I think is what Usman's going to do to Covington, or going to try and do. Or you take him down, is the other thing. I mean, there are different options. That's one of them. You can, like, as far as tools, as far as techniques, you can attack the lead leg and slow down their pressure, and it'll also take power out of their punches because they can't plant on that lead leg. Elbows. Give them a good reason not to come crashing forward recklessly. Hit them with a nasty elbow. Stephen, happy casual. What will I get my lass for Christmas? I don't know. Has she got a copy of Part Reptile? Get her a Raptors pack. There you go. That's what you need for her.
What would you get her? Your hypothetical girlfriend?
What would I get my girlfriend for Christmas? Depends what she was into, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's hypothetical. Yeah. So, what would your hypothetical girlfriend be into? MMA. She'd be a jiu-jitsu girl.
Yeah, that would be sick.
She'd be a UFC fighter. Yeah.
So like a new gi.
A what?
A new gi.
You get her a new gi. Yeah. Whether she likes it or not.
Yeah.
And you'll secretly hide her yoga mat. All good? Have you given up on the questions?
No.
Who wins, Whittaker or Till?
Good ones.
Well, I'll ask you that one then. Who wins, Whittaker or Till?
Till.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that just because you're in love with him?
Nah, not at all.
Not at all, no.
Not even slightly.
No, not even a little bit. Is it because you don't like Whittaker?
Nah, I really like Whittaker.
You do, yeah.
He's a cool guy.
You just don't think he can beat Till?
Nah, after his loss to Adesanya, I think Till's going to be in a stronger mindset, and he'll bing him with one like he did with Masvidal in the first.
Bing him with one. Yeah. So what about
search engine?
So what about if Till fights Adesanya then?
Yeah, that's a. If it
so
goes
my
the
heart
distance,
says Till, but my brain says Adesanya.
I think if it went the distance, Adesanya wins. I think if it stops, Till stops it.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Yeah.
So you're sitting right on the fence then?
Am I?
Getting
Why?
Splinters in your ass because you're not committing either way. You're giving that's what I do when I analyze a fight.
I'll do.
I go, if he's gonna win, it's gonna be this way. If he's gonna win, it's gonna be this way. And then I sit right on the fence. Casey asked, what should I have for lunch? But that was 2 days ago. Dude, I hope you haven't been waiting. If you've been waiting for my reply, just eat something quick. You'll be very, very hungry.
There's one from Ash Routh. Sorry if that's bad pronunciation. Why does Dana not seem overly interested in MVP?
Probably because he's got too much to focus on without having to worry about him too much. I mean, I think the thing is that Dana will give a fighter credit no matter who they fight for when they do something that impresses him, and Dana watches so much MMA, you know. He's like got the Contender Series. He watches every event, whether he's at the event or not. He watches all of them. So he's probably, he's seen a lot of flashy superstars that have, not yet delivered. He looks amazing. There's no doubt about it. But we need to see him do that against someone of a recognizable name, someone that, especially for Dana, that's what's gonna get Dana's attention. If he did that to Roy McDonald, Dana's like, okay, cool. But until that point, Dana won't waste that energy on him at the moment. And he's a promoter. That's what he does. He's not there to promote another promotion's fighter. I think we'll see MVP in the UFC at some point. I think MVP will want to prove himself against who the guys that are respected. Like imagine MVP against Masvidal for the BMF title. Or
that'd be wild.
To leave a legacy, you kind of have to, really, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. But I'm massively biased, as you all know.
No, I think so.
I just think you do. I think you could if you want to be the best fighter in the world, you want to be a UFC champion. There's no doubt about that, and I'm glad there's no doubt about that, because that's the problem with boxing. When you got so many different belts and stuff. Like, I love combat sports, but I gave up on boxing a long time ago. I watched the occasional fight, but that's because of the fighter, not because of what belts they're wearing.
Like Canelo's recent one.
Yeah, awesome. I've been drilling that feint to the body. Beautiful.
The one you showed me. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
There's one here as well. It's quite a funny one. From Matthew Lewis. What sport would be funniest to add a mandatory amount of alcohol to?
Well, they tried it with MMA in the Ultimate Fighter house. You've got Chris Lieben kicking through a door.
Let me bang, bro.
I don't know. Ice hockey would be funny.
Yeah.
Ice hockey would be funny. Football would be funny.
I think rowing drunk would be funny.
What?
Rowing.
All out of time.
Yeah.
All
You'd
out of
have
time.
to pick a boring sport.
Would you?
Yeah.
Golf.
I think so. Yeah.
Golf, yeah.
Golf. The only way to play golf would be to play drunk. You like golf, don't you?
I do like golf, yeah. I don't like watching it on telly,
Makes a lot
though.
of sense.
Don't like watching it.
That's the excuse for you to dress how you like. That's what golf is.
Right, in camo.
Is that your golf outfit? Yeah.
Table tennis is pretty fun with alcohol.
Yeah, and I'll whoop.
And you both have tried.
everybody.
You always say that, and then you don't. We'll find a place in Vegas. We'll have a table tennis.
Yeah.
Go on.
I gave you first match.
That table in
Yeah, but
New York
I don't play
wasn't-
table tennis.
Got
you
your
can't prove
confidence
anything
up
against me.
nicely. Like, got a little rally going.
Like you were coaching me.
Yeah.
It was like a tutorial for me. I'm useless at that kind of thing.
I love that. I was good at badminton as well.
Well, yeah. I bet you are. You love a sweatband. Anything that's got cock in it, you're all about it. All good. Should we wrap it there? I'm gonna pack a suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good. There's so many.
There's loads.
There's so many.
We'll get to a few more.
I wanted to ask you the one I was saving.
What was the one you were saving then?
Oh, fuck it. I don't know who said it, but they said they asked about what you thought to Duke Rufus's latest comments and you and Pettis.
First of all, Duke, thank you very much for being so very respectful. I appreciate it, and the call out is respectful as well. Yeah, I've mentioned Pettis to a few people as an ideal fight. It would be, especially, we're around the same size now. I would even say he's a bit bigger, like heavier. But the style that he fights with, the way that he fights, his attitude towards martial arts. I've got a lot of respect for him, and I think it'd be a fun fight and a good test. And I saw somebody posted on my Twitter about why don't you have a warm up fight, but if you go into all that effort, the difference with stepping in there against someone like Pettis and someone that you've never heard of before, it's much of a muchness, Plus the other thing as well is I know Pettis so well because I've watched his fights in his career. I know how he's developed, and I have a couple of cheeky secret weapons, which we won't talk about now. We'll save them for when the fight happens. But he's got Diego next, hasn't he? Diego Ferreira. So, and back down at lightweight as well. So, and I can make lightweight if he wants to do the fight there, or 70 if he would rather. Makes no difference to me.
Which would you prefer?
Well, 70 just without the weight cut.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be walking around in training camp at 175, which was much, well, as I was saying earlier, a lot lighter than I used to be. I used to like start training camp at like over 200 pounds, and it was just, I just felt slow. It just changed my style. It made me more of a brawler, more of a banger. And like my earlier fights, I wasn't like that. I'm much faster and sharper when I'm lighter. And someone like Pettis, if I know I'm going to be up against that kind of style, it's going to raise my game to that level as well. And if I can, I know I've said this before, if I can get what's in here and translate that physically, even if it's 20%, it's game over. It's game over.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
When ideally would you like to roughly do that?
2020,
2021?
No, next year for sure. 2020. Well, I'm booked with the UFC up until the end of March, but I'm going to be training throughout that. So I'll just be ready. I'll just gotta start preparing. I've already started preparing, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just continue down that road, keep that process going, and then when I'm kind of 85% ready, I'll let the UFC know, and then I'll just be there. Especially, you know, with all the interesting fights I'm sure are going to be made next year, it's worth me being close to a weight in case someone pulls out, and I can just throw the proverbial hat in the octagon, fuck somebody up.
That would be so sad.
What about like location wise? Where would you like to?
Japan.
Japan. Yeah, I would like to fight in Japan again, but my dream of fighting in Japan was always in Pride at the Saitama Super Arena, so it would never be the same if I was fighting in the UFC in Japan. As cool as the experience would be, New York would be good because it's New York. It'd be awesome. It'd be great to that. I mean, that event at Madison Square Garden was insane.
Yeah.
London's always awesome. Anywhere in the UK would be great. Paris, maybe first show in Paris coming up.
Paris would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know. To be honest, anywhere. It's more the opponent that I'm interested in. Much more about the opponent. Vegas is always good to fight as well. I always love being in Vegas. Now I don't live there.
Be at the T-Mobile as well this time.
It will. Or Raiders Stadium, depending on who I'm fighting. Imagine.
When's that to be finished?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we get to next week.
A third built when we last went.
I shouldn't
apparently
say
they're
this.
cracking on with it.
They are.
Apparently, yeah. We'll see when we
I
get
heard
there.
they like ran out of money or something.
Oh, did they? Yeah. They'll find money for that.
I could have dreamt that though. So.
Is that why you throw your Raiders stuff away? Yeah.
I lost that. I need to buy a new one.
Well, we're going to the
That
right
was an
place.
original, and it was an old like dad cap one.
Oh,
Devoed.
You'll have to thrift store it up. You'll find one.
Yeah, I hope so.
There'll be one in Vegas for sure.
Yeah.
Tweet us thrift stores in Vegas so Mystery can find a replacement Raiders dad cap
That'd be amazing.
that looks like it's been dragged behind the car.
I'll just drag
Sat
it
on by a cow.
We got some fun stuff lined up there, haven't we?
We have.
In Vegas.
Yeah, we have.
A little, maybe, see how things go, but hopefully a little come dine with me.
We'll see how this goes. I'm really interested to see how this turns out. I'm absolutely down for it, but we'll see. This is it. This is the makings of a couple of crazy minds. Yeah, we'll have a couple of guests.
Yeah.
Nick will be joining us as well, won't he?
Yeah.
All good?
All good,
Yeah?
man.
All good, man.
Right. Catch you next time.